evening and welcome back to Mystic Matters. We are the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce, and then once again my favorite co-host, Kristin Hartnett. Thank you so much, Kristin, for all you do. Hi, here we are again.
Here we are.
You know, it's really wonderful. We started out 2017. We've had some great shows, and I think you guys are going to enjoy this evening's show as well. But we want to know what's going on at the Chamber.
What's going on at the Chamber? So we've moved to our new location at 62 Greenmanville Avenue, and that is going to be a welcome center. Mm-hmm. Welcome to Mystic. We know where to send you. We know
where you have to eat,
how to show you a good time,
what you have to buy.
Yes.
And then all the events going on.
We're very helpful that way.
Yeah.
But so the business after hours is tomorrow, the 14th. And that is at Center for Hospice Care. We always love going up there. Yeah. They have a nice spread, and what a wonderful staff. What a wonderful bunch of people up there.
Well, we've had the opportunity of having a lot of the staff people from the center, the hospice center, right?
On the show.
Mm-hmm. So we've learned about what they do up there as well. It's a great partnership with the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah. And then the Mystic Irish Parade is the 19th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The walk the day before,
yes,
which is growing every year. So that's a great thing for the community. And then what's coming up for Mystic Chamber, we are going to be going into the schools and teaching some high school students how to work in Mystic in the summer. How do you adopt a business and a hospitality attitude that will get you far?
Well, I think that's a great idea.
Yes. So
to go into both the high schools?
We're going into the high schools, and we'll be teaching them how to present themselves, how to get ahead, and then hopefully we'll have a team of hospitality trained kids that will be ready to work in Mystic in the summer.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I think from that they can grow into whatever field they want to grow into.
Exactly.
Because that really is an open field.
That's what we're going to encourage them to do.
Okay, that's great. Well, you know, tonight, Kristin, you know, we always have some fun shows.
We do. This one is...
And I want to tell you, we were looking forward to, if you saw the emails back and forth with Kristin and I about this wonderful person in his business, you would have started to laugh because one of the first things I said was, can we taste, and are there going to be some samples? So I would like to personally introduce Stephen Clemente, who I want to say is also the chairman of the board of the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. But like I said, Stephen, you wear so many different hats, which we're very happy that you do. But you're always in a sticky situation.
I am.
Yes. And so you're going to hear this.
Good one.
Okay, this was a very, very good segue to just a little bit of another part of Stephen's wonderful brain and his success to his business. So I'm going to let him explain sticky situations.
Well, thank you, Susette, and thank you, Kristin. Thanks for having us. And Sticky Situations is my third business. All three businesses are located in Old Mystic Village. Many of you kind of remember that we started with oils and vinegars at Extra Virgin. And believe it or not, that was 6 years ago. 5 years ago, we took my grandmother's pasta recipes and we brought them to Mystic, and we started to make ravioli and fresh pasta, and Semolina Pasta Shop was built. And for a few years, the dust kind of settled. And one day, I was reading articles about honeybees, and these honeybees were vanishing. And the more I learned about that, the more I started to realize something had to be done. And I'm not a botanist. I'm not a live animal expert by any means. What I am is someone who's a foodie. And I thought, well, maybe there's a way that we could introduce honey into Mystic in a newfound way. And we opened up Sticky Situations. And 2.5 years later, here we are today to have this conversation. So it's a name that people ask me about. And it's a name that I wish I could take credit for, but my nephew came up with the name. He said, Stephen, you know, Uncle Steve, actually, he said, I've got a great name for your business. He was five years old at the time. And he said, Sticky Situations.
Wow. I love that.
And his name's Massimo. And
Massimo.
Yeah, Massimo.
He's your marketing department now?
My family's just a little bit
Yeah,
Italian.
no, I can tell.
And so, I thought about it, and I had another name in my head, which I won't disclose. And
Because that might be the next project.
But no, I slept on it, and I said, sticky situations it's going to be.
I love it.
Off and running we are.
So you wanted to save the bees. Tears are streaming down your face as you're reading this article, and you're like, we have to do something for the bees.
Well,
do you actually have bees now?
We do. We have a few million honeybees, and we have a beekeeper on our staff. Actually, we have two. And those beekeepers work with the bees, theoretically live with the bees in a way, and we'll get into it, but we actually move our bees around the country. Our bees do not spend their entire life here in southeastern Connecticut. How they work is they pollinate different crops across the United States on organic farms for farms that cannot afford or want to maintain their own bee colonies. And so subsequently what we do is we work in the oldest form of currency, which is a straight barter system. We provide them our bees provide pollination services, and in return, we keep the honey that our bees make. And we bring that honey to one location and one location only, and that is here in Mystic.
So are the bees on a leash, or do you bribe them? I'm like, how does this work with the bees?
Yeah, so
They have a very good relationship, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, without going into the science of bees, they are quite remarkable creatures.
They're very smart.
They are
Extremely.
intelligent beyond belief. Yes, that probably is a bee that got into a lot of nectar at that
think
particular
so.
point. Yeah, but they've been on the planet obviously for a long time. But not very many people know that they haven't been in the United States for a long time. Actually, honeybees were brought to the Americas by the Europeans. And so the first introduction of the honeybee here in the U.S. Was 1622. And so here, domestically, they are still a relatively new breed, if you will. And that's part of the problem in the United States, is that we don't know a lot about these bees. Whereas in Europe, in the Middle East, in Africa, in a large number of places where honeybees are indigenous, they've been around for tens of thousands, obviously millions of years. But the known recorded civilization of the honeybee dates back to 7000 BC. There are cave drawings in both Spain and in Turkey that actually show images of bees going to flowers, extracting the plant nectar from the flower, and then having honey recorded as a medicinal salve at that particular point in time. So those countries and those civilizations revered the bee, loved the bee. Not that we don't in the United States, but when you think about it, the honeybee here is less than 400 years old. And so as we continue to try to grow supersized crops, and we try to have flowers that are the size of this.
Well, even like tomatoes and things like that, those type of things too.
So the bees are getting into all of those things, and those chemicals that are making those crops enormous are having a negative impact on the bees. And so we wanted to call that out. We wanted to make awareness around that particular piece in our way. Again, there are a number of people all over the United States that could speak on this topic from an agricultural perspective, from
A scientific
scientific.
too.
I'm speaking on it from a food perspective.
Right.
What I've tried to bring to Mystic is clean, unadulterated honey from all over the United States, made by our bees. And that's kind of what makes it a little bit unique and brings it yet another step into the Mystic foodie hierarchy. When you think about our community, we have really become a food destination. We have some of the best, if not the best, restaurants in all of Connecticut, in all of the Northeast, some might argue, but also the foods that we have here, whether it's microbreweries or whether it's something that we've created ourselves. It's a very exciting place to be. And as a foodie, I'm proud to have brought my own kind of love and spin on core food products, in this particular case today, honey, to Mystic. Yeah.
Okay.
So we like that you've brought it here to us so that we
Right.
can try some, perhaps.
But
Where do you
we-
see these flavors?
It's unbelievable, and we're going to try to get a little bit of a close-up here in just a few minutes, but are you saying to me, outside of these two things on the side, all this is honey?
Yes,
That's
Susette.
perfect, Frank.
Yeah.
We're going to leave
So
that here. So
what you have in your hand there, garlic honey.
Okay, so I've got the garlic honey right here.
Now, if we had 100 people in this room and we asked them, did you know that bees are responsible for pollinating and creating garlic? I am not sure that very many people would realize that.
Wow.
And
Are you
okay,
raising your hand?
all right.
I mean, I garlic honey. I don't quite get that connection.
So imagine you've had shrimp scampi,
Of course.
and
Yeah, of
you
course.
and you've had maybe a chicken wing in your life, and maybe you've had Brussels sprouts that have been glazed. Well, if you were in a fine restaurant, how that chef would ultimately do that is they would be using some sugar component of some kind.
Makes sense.
And they would be creating a theoretical sauce, if you will, based out of sugar, and they would be glazing the chicken wing, glazing the Brussels sprout, glazing the shrimp. Well, our philosophy is that you can just use honey to do that. And if you allow the bee to work on a given crop, and only that given crop, the bee will start to naturally flavor the honey. And that's what we do. We work with farms that are specialized in a certain crop. So in that particular case, a garlic farmer.
Let me see,
In the case that you have in your hand, a peppermint farm. And these are people who are growing peppermint.
Oh my gosh. It smells like
And
peppermint.
if you want to taste, by all means,
gosh.
here are some sticks for you ladies. Those will remind you of the old Italian ice sticks.
Yes.
And
Why did you say old Italian ice sticks, Stephen?
well,
I don't know.
it's
Why
a
you
lost
said-
art. It's a lost art. Nobody seems
Oh my
to.
gosh.
Okay, so this. Okay, so that's good.
Okay, you know, I
really
was
strong.
watching the Travel Channel the other day in this food destinations, and whoever the host is on that Bizarre Foods, he always goes, delicious. And I used to say, oh, that's kind of corny, but I have to tell you, it's delicious.
So can you imagine that peppermint honey in your tea?
Right?
I was just thinking of that as we speak right now.
Maybe you put that on top of vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, it's so good. I like the texture too. It's like a
Maybe you put that on top of a lamb tenderloin.
Okay, but Stephen, I'm going to just say this right here, and I've been to your shops, and I always have to read all the different infusions of different things. So we have you on the show. Are you telling me that with all these honeys, when you go into your shop, is there something there that says that, or do you always have to be around?
No. So
Because
when-
you're very educated. When you go to your stores, I have to tell you, when you
he's
go to
very
his
good.
stores, he educates you, either if he's there or the staff, or there's a little,
Well, I have a great team.
Card.
I have a
Yes.
great team. But yes, we do work hard at it. I mean, again, in this particular case, obviously our bees did the vast majority of this work, but these are our products. I mean,
Right.
we're making these products. We're bringing them to you. And subsequently, we want our customers to be able to taste. We want them to be able to ask questions. We want them to understand where this was done, how it was done, and create awareness. So many of our customers are kids, Susette. And
Yeah.
you can imagine, they think honey comes out of a little plastic bear.
yeah,
And of course, that's not real
of
honey.
course, right.
And
well, look at the ingredients.
right. And high fructose corn syrup is not honey.
Right.
You know, and so subsequently, when you come into the store, and Kristin can attest to this, she was in the store the other day, we built a maple tree in our store so that kids can understand that maple syrup comes from a tree, not from a plastic squeeze bottle. That is part of what we're trying to do. We're trying to educate our consumers as to the difference between real food and
So-
manufactured food.
at Sticky Situations, you've got a situation. I love that nephew of yours, where you are educating.
Yep.
So it's an educational facility compiled with your staff.
Yes.
And also interactive. And then the last product is consumer.
Yes.
Those are great ingredients. Oh, I'm getting to the foodie part. Steve, I've got this. I've got this.
Well,
So
I'm like imagining this company of bees that it's like, hey, who do you work for? Oh, well,
I work for Sticky Situations.
Yeah,
Situation.
Well, and funny part is that the girls in the store created a map. So when you come into the store, we have a visual representation of where the bees have traveled over the past 18 months. And the girls in the shop said that they're on a business trip, and some of the girls say that they're rock stars. They have their own tour bus. And they're traveling around and they're doing those types of things. And they are.
Yeah.
Now, I don't mean to make light of it because we love these little guys and we work very, very hard to take care of them and make sure that they get onto real food that is safe for them, subsequently is safe for you. Because you can imagine a honeybee gets into a crop that has been tainted.
yeah, that's not good.
Well, who is it not good for, Susette? It's not good for them and who?
Us.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's
right. So that tainted crop weakens their system. They produce honey that has a taint associated with it. We start ingesting that. It's not good for anybody involved. And so that peppermint that you just tried, you can taste the difference, right? You can taste the difference, and that is the whole point. People ask me all the time, they say, Stephen, you must sell tons and tons and tons of these products online. And the answer is no. And they say, well, I don't understand. How come? And I say, because you can't taste online.
Yeah.
You have to come and taste the products. And I would encourage everybody to come down next time you're in Mystic, not just to my shop, but to all of the food shops and taste what we have created here. It is a very unique experience.
I think that's wonderful. So you've got how many different products here? Because I do want to get that out. You've got garlic.
So we have 25 different varietals.
I'm helping myself.
Yeah,
Kristin's
checked out, and she's
Kristin,
just.
what do you have there?
Sage honey.
Sage honey. Okay, then we have
we have garlic. We have cranberry. We have peppermint. We have cinnamon.
Thank you, Frank. Cinnamon.
We have buckwheat. And these are just some varietals, Susette. 25 varietals. Okay. And we're working on new contracts every day. So actually in a few weeks, we'll be introducing avocado honey. We'll be introducing coconut honey. We'll be introducing mesquite. We'll be introducing a variety of different things. As we find new farms, as farms are looking for that collaborative effort, we'll be bringing new stuff to the store. The same way that we started with oils and vinegars. You might remember on day one, because I believe you were in the store the first week that I opened, we had eight products.
Right.
Wow, really?
8. And people looked at me scratching their heads. They're like, what are you, are you closing? You just opened. And I said, we're working on creating a whole line of products. Now, 65 oils and vinegars that we make. 70 different types of pasta and sauces that we make, 25 different honeys, 5 honey mustards, maple syrup, apple syrup, a variety of different things. Wow. So it's a gradual progression. It didn't just magically happen overnight. We're in our 6th year. But I do look forward to bringing more and more and more varietals. We've only focused on the domestic side.
Right, there's a
whole international component
absolutely.
that eventually we would like to get involved in, but we're not ready to do that yet. Right now, we're still focused on the contiguous 48 and making sure that our bees travel safely, work together safely, and help various farms along the way.
So are these, I mean, you've got, I don't know how many ounces this is.
Those are 8-ounce jars.
So are there other sizes to that too?
So we have what's called a stocking stuffer jar, and that's a 4-ounce jar. If you just want to get yourself acclimated to, I liked it, I tasted it in the store, but let me go home and put it in my tea. Let me go home and put it on toast. Let me go home and put it over chicken breast. Let me go home and do some of these things. Then come back and buy the larger size.
And are you there and the staff is there to sort of navigate, like, okay, am I going to put this, I don't know what this is, but am I going to put buckwheat honey? Because I want to know.
Put that on your oatmeal, for instance.
Okay, but you just told me that right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what do I do with buckwheat honey?
Well, so like, Kristin, taste this and tell me if that does not remind you of brown sugar, only in healthy form. It's something unique in the sense that when you come in and you do those tastings and you have that opportunity to say, Stephen, or anyone on my team, I really like that buckwheat honey.
That's dense.
It's dense, right?
Brown sugar.
Yeah.
Just like a
But
good
what I'm
food.
trying to say is, how do we understand what we're, like, I would come into your store, Chuck's the cook and we need to get him in. And I would say, I want to buy this for Chuck, and then, because I don't know what I'm doing. You would provide us, because some flavors do not go well with other flavors.
Correct.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep. So on our website, we do have a recipe generator. And so
That's what you're asking.
That's what I'm asking.
So what would happen is you would come home and you say, Chuck, honey, I got this buckwheat honey. I tried it in the store.
I love it.
I love it. It's kind of a new tool for you in the kitchen. Go play with it. And as a home chef, he might say, oh, I already know what I'm going to do with this. But let's just say he didn't. Let's say he tasted it and he said, well, I mean, outside of coffee or tea or toast, what am I supposed to do with this? You would go out to our website.
Right.
You would say, I have the buckwheat honey and I have, what's your favorite food? Pick something. Asparagus.
Well, actually,
eggplant.
I like Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts. Perfect. So you would
say this.
no. So you would say, I have Brussels sprouts.
Yep.
I have this buckwheat honey. Tell me what to do. And our recipe generator would spit out a whole series of recipes for you.
Instead of cutting them up and then with the bacon and the onions that we just do.
Which is fine. Let's not take that away.
Right.
I mean, that's
but
all good
but
stuff.
that's another, what I'm trying to, I guess what I'm trying to get out is that's another flavor. The bacon and the whatever, you've all done it. You cut the Brussels, you fry them up with the bacon and whatever. But if you wanted a different flavor for your Brussels sprouts, that's another flavor.
Not only is it another flavor, but it's another healthy flavor.
Yes.
Because
absolutely.
I think one of the things that people don't understand about honey is that it really is the world's most perfect food. It's antiviral, it's antifungal, it's antipathogenic. It is amazing the holistic properties of honey. It's amazing the effect that it has on the body. We have a lot of customers who come into the shop and they're diabetic. They're suffering from some illness of some kind. And the earliest form of honey that I can remember is when I was a kid. I was a soccer player and I'd have cuts all over myself, and I'd come home. My grandmother would just take honey, put it right onto the cut, put a Band-Aid on top. We didn't have Neosporin or any of these other things. And in a day, you'd peel the Band-Aid off and the cut would be gone. And I didn't understand that as a child. I was just like, why is my grandmother putting honey on my cut?
Well, there wasn't anything else available.
That's exactly right. And that's what they had. But now as an adult, I can see the properties of this. So yeah, those Brussels sprouts, the bacon and the onions and the number, let's not change that recipe because that's tried and true. But if you're looking for some healthy alternatives,
Right.
what honey does
You mean
do.
that's not healthy with all that bacon and then...
Well, it's healthy for the brain. It makes us feel good, right? But honey lowers blood sugar. Honey regulates blood sugar. Honey decreases your triglyceride level. It raises your good cholesterol. It sparks imagination in the brain. It does so many positive things for you, but it has to be real. It has to be raw, which all of our products at Sticky Situations are. It has to be in its native, natural form, which all of our particular products are. And it cannot be heated above 140 degrees. Otherwise, it loses all of its medicinal value. So when we tell people to cook with honey, what we talk about is using honey at the end of the cooking process.
Right, okay.
So imagine those Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
They're in your roasting pan. You pull them out of the oven. They're about to be served, and you drizzle the garlic honey, you drizzle the buckwheat honey, you drizzle whatever your favorite varietal is over those warm sprouts, and now you have garlic glazed Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, you do. This is so good. This tastes like a garlic. I mean, it tastes like garlic
I can smell
paste.
it right now.
But you know that if you had garlic paste, you'd have some kind of after shock, like around the back of the nose. But this is like like singing to the back of my tongue.
But I guess what
really
Stephen also,
smooth.
Kristin is saying too, that this is very pure.
Yep.
It's pure. I mean, I don't even know how to.
So your body can use it.
Your body can use it. It can digest it.
Yes. What honey does more than anything else is it balances the glycogen in your liver. And so when you think about kind of how your body responds to infection, how your body responds to producing a healthy structure for you, the more your liver has to work, the more likely it is that your immune system is going to break down. And what honey does is it purifies, it detoxifies. It works the liver in a way that no other food, literally no other food does or can do. And so subsequently, you should ingest, if you're looking at it totally from a health perspective, you should ingest 1 to 2 tablespoons, no more and no less, of raw honey every day.
Yeah.
So for instance, I wake up every morning, and people know my ritual because they've been into the shop 1,000 times, and I say, I start every day with olive oil, vinegar, and honey now. And I end the day with a tablespoon of honey, because the final health piece that I want to talk about today, because I could go on for hours about this, is the effect on sleep. Why can't we sleep at night? What is going on? Our brain is racing 1,000 different ways. Our bodies are tired, but we can't turn our mind off. Well, there's something happening in our mind as to why that is. Our mind is looking for a signal from our liver that says, are we detoxed? If we are, we can rest. So if you take the tablespoon of honey and you allow it to go to the liver, and the liver does its work, the liver will connect to the brain and say, relax, fall asleep. I was not a believer. I really wasn't. I mean, I'm just being honest. I wasn't. I read multiple books on the medicinal and holistic values of honey. I simply didn't believe it. But I have to tell you, it works.
That is fantastic. Stephen, we've got a few minutes, but first of all, I want to tell you, wrong show, because we could have done another half an hour of Sticky Situation. I do want to tell you, he has a lot of products. You see it in front of us on honey at Sticky Situations, and we didn't have time today, but infusing sort of his oils in with the honey, and we'll do that. We promise Stephen's got to come back. But wrap it up with this sort of sleep as we end the show. The liver and the honey.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there who pick up a book, have a magazine, have a diet program, see something on the Dr. Oz show or whatever, and they're fads. Let's call them what they are.
They wouldn't be TV. Not this TV.
And I'm not knocking that, because there's a lot of things that are working for a lot of people, and if that is the case, continue to do what you're doing. But I can tell you scientifically, I can tell you from a longevity standpoint, that there is really only one food that we can date back 10,000 years.
Honey.
Honey.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up. Stephen Clemente, Old Mystic Village, Sticky Situations, Kristin Hartnett.
Susette
Thank you
Tibus.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.